16 Minutes of Care is a podcast based on the CARE principles, a strategic framework that reveals how brands create impact by caring and, as a result, grow their business. In each episode, Isabel welcomes a company executive who explains how care has helped their business grow successfully and sustainably.
Welcome back, 16 Minutes of Care. Today, third episode with Tamara Eelsing. She is the Diversity Manager at STIB, the Brussels Transport Company. Welcome back, Tamara. Nice to have you here. Tamara, in this episode, I would like to try and marry the CARE strategic framework and your job as a diversity manager. And for me, it's really easy because diversity for me is really part of the CARE principles. Let me explain for those who don't know it. So CARE not only stands for having a positive impact and caring impact on people and planet, CARE also stands for 4 shifts in the way we work. And the C stands for collaboration, the A stands for agility, the R for reliability, and the E for empathy. And I would like to use this third episode to talk about collaboration and about agility. And in the last episode, I want to dive deeper into the empathy and the reliability part. I'll do reliability now as well. Collaboration and reliability. Talking about collaboration, one of the values that you have at STIB is together. Samen in het Nederlands, ensemble in het French. Why is this a value and how do you translate that internally?
Yeah. So it's a very important value. I think it's if you ask people which values do they know, because you know that not everybody in a company always knows all values, but I think together, ensemble is the one that they all know. They all know this because it really speaks to us. Together we are moving Brussels, right? So together but together also with the clients. We talk about it later. Within STIB, because it's a highly technical company, people need to work together to come up with new solutions. We need to work together from the head office with the field to see, okay, where can we improve? We need to work together over departments to make sure that we get really best results, because the client is the most important thing, and we need to make sure that we as a company deliver and that we deliver what the client wants. So if I only look at my job, compare again a very big difference with the job I had before within the financial institution is that I work together with so many people in my job. So I work very closely together with the Department of Communication. I work very closely together with the people from Social Cohesion, which is a department that STIB has that goes into your empathy part, where we try to take care of the people that are, for example, in our stations, like the people who are using drugs or are homeless. We try to educate schools and things like that. So that is very interesting. I work together a lot with them. I work together with a lot of other HR people, with the social advisors. And only by doing this, I can really reach the goals that I've set for myself and that are being set for me. The campaign about sexism that I talked about in the first part of this podcast, I really collaborated with a lot of departments to make sure that I could accomplish this. Working on a very big project right now. Again, there's a collaboration between everything that's operational, so bus, technical, tram, metro, and also strategy and innovation, communication. It all comes together. We call it transversaal. So we work on a transversal way within the company because otherwise we can never deliver what we need to deliver.
That's interesting. Do you also collaborate with clients?
Yes, we do. We do in large projects. We include focus groups, for example. But on a smaller scale, we collaborate with clients on, for example, we are changing a mural in our Roger station. It's on the ceiling,
okay,
where you go down with the escalators, and there's now a competition, and the clients can vote which mural they would like to see, and what the client votes, they're going to get. So they can choose from 5, and it's a collaboration with Brussels Mobility, with Minister Elke van der Brand. to make sure that we give clients a say. And we do this a lot. We try to have an impact and try to let clients know that they are important for us. We do this even more on when we're talking about, for example, accessibility, and we will come back to that later. But there's a project in the South Station of Brussels, where we are testing a system, a guidance system for people who cannot see very well, who are even blind. And so there we work together with the appropriate associations, but also with clients who have a problem with their sight. And we ask them to test the system with us to see if it really works.
So really trying to look for new innovations and new ways. Interesting. You mentioned you're the Brussels transport company, so you move Brussels and everybody that goes to Brussels, the Belgian capital. So there's a lot of people moving in and around Brussels.
Yes.
How is the collaboration with external stakeholders?
So we have a lot of external stakeholders. So on one hand, we have all our colleagues. So STIB, Tech, The Line, that we've just had a meeting with them yesterday, because on some we saw collaboration, for example, on when we were going into COVID and coming out of COVID, where we made sure that everybody got the same message. In the whole public transportation in Belgium, we gave the same message. So that is very important. On the other hand, I work together also with a lot of people, with a lot of diversity managers that are not related to public transport, because some best practices can be found at Decathlon or at ING or at BNP Paribas. And so we are also working together in
Any idea how many diversity managers we already have in Belgium?
No, well.
Is there an association of diversity?
Yes, there is a Diversity Managers Association Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was actually one of the first, together with Claire Godin and Luc van der Mortelen from AXA. We came together and now we are quite big. I think our last meeting was about 30 people. So I'm not saying that there are 30 diversity managers in Belgium, but there are a lot of people who do this on top of their job, even in big companies.
Human resources probably mostly.
Sometimes, but for example, in Accenture, the person that is working on diversity and inclusion has nothing to do with HR. She's a project manager and she takes diversity and inclusion on top of her job. So that's very interesting. And then, of course, we have the other governmental organizations. So we also share, because sometimes we have same challenges. If you look at everything that is Brussels Propriété or the Guardians of the Park, they have the same issues of attracting women, while effectively they're not so technical, but the jobs seem quite masculine. And so it doesn't attract a lot of women. So we need to see, how can we improve the situation? Employer branding, but also infrastructure in our own companies. What are we doing? Can we learn from each other? And then, of course, we have politics. So we work together with the relevant cabinets.
That's an interesting thing you just said about a lot of these institutions. They have the same issues. For instance, women who don't think about becoming a bus driver or a subway driver, because they often think it's not a safe environment to work, right?
Yes.
And for me, safety has to do with accessibility, and accessibility has to do with reliability and trust. So I would like to make the bridge to reliability. What are the issues there?
For our staff or for our customers?
For your staff first.
Yeah, so, we see it in the news. Sometimes bus drivers sometimes become the victim, but like everybody else, they sometimes become the victim of harassment. I think that at STIB we are already quite good at that, because we shelter our people from the clients. So they are in a cabin, so they are protected by glass to make sure that nobody can reach them. And to make sure that nobody can throw something at them, right? So that is already quite important. On the other hand, there is a button in the bus, and if you push it, you are in direct contact with our dispatching central, and dispatching immediately can warn either the police or our own security personnel. So if a bus driver or a tram driver or a metro driver has a problem, they can immediately liaise with someone internally who are there really 24/7 to make sure that they can assist whenever it is needed. And then they can send the appropriate instances like security or police to the incident. So I think we are quite good at that. However, glass doesn't shelter you from anything that has to do with verbal aggression. So and there, for example, that also can weigh on you if you are verbally aggressive.
Do you hear from the people on the field, so the bus drivers and the subway drivers and whatever, is aggression and verbal aggression, is it on the rise, or do you have...
Is it on the rise? I don't know exactly if it's on the rise. We talk about it, and I think that after COVID, people have become more irritable. I feel that there's this polarization going on in society, but also this after COVID, maybe fear or whatever, which makes people more irritable. And I think sometimes. And it's not only your bus drivers, it's all first line personnel. So if you look at ambulances, if you look at firemen, if you look at nurses, receptions in hospitals, people have become more irritable, become angry, allow themselves to become angry more quickly. Also, you have social media where people can really hide and can just be violent. So I think
there seems to be a tendency...
There seems to be a tendency that there's more... In general, a little bit more irritation and therefore a little bit more verbal aggression.
And non-respect, I would also say, because the job that these people do, that drive the buses or drive the subways, it's very important because it's the social structure of a city, right? Yeah,
and that's what I don't understand. I mean, why would you hate on someone who's trying to put your fire out? Why would you hate on someone who helps your grandmother stay alive? Why would you hate on someone who's moving you around in the city, which would be so much harder if they were not there? So I really don't understand this lack of respect. And I think it's, again, a common problem for first-line workers. I know that in public transport we really pay attention to this. And so we're going to come with a campaign in the fall around respect. And we're trying to... But how do you touch your clients? How do you tell people who are not respectful to be respectful? This is a really difficult issue.
It's a really difficult issue because it has a lot to do with education, it has a lot to do with culture, but respect, it's very, very important. Just to go back from the reliability part, from internally, from your own people to your clients, you work a lot in the public space because a bus station can be just in the street. It's not always in your buildings like for a subway. How can you make that a safe spot for customers when it's early in the morning or late at night or in a part of town that is might be a bit more scary?
Well, basically, thanks to everything that has to do with gender mainstreaming, so that's the stream, that it's the movement to make the public space a more safe space for women. So not only bus stops, but also parks and just the streets in general. We see that more and more research has been done. So we get more insight in how a bus stop can be safe. It's about lighting. It's about having a Wi-Fi connection. It's about not having very tall bushes around the stop. But I think one of the most important things that we have already implemented is the digital information that people can get at the bus stop. So
about when the bus arrives.
When the bus arrives. So a lot of our stops already have this digital information. Otherwise, you can find the information real time in the app. And that makes that people limit the time that they're outside alone. And if they are alone, they know that someone is coming very quickly.
Very soon. Yeah.
So they know when someone is coming. So even if there's a situation in which they feel uncomfortable, they know that someone is on the way and that someone will be there to probably help them.
That's interesting. Are there more innovations coming up that, or tests in innovations now that could help this reliability part, safety part, accessibility part? Yeah,
if you look at accessibility, we have already taken some very innovative measures. I'm very proud to say that STIB really was the first company to introduce in the trams some kind of bridge the gap utensil in rubber, because I don't know if you've ever noticed, and it's again a very technical problem, not all of the perrons are at the same height.
Level. So you have to step up.
So you have to step up, step down,
with a wheelchair,
it's impossible. So we now have introduced a tool which we designed ourselves to effectively bridge this gap between the concrete and the entrance.
Yeah.
So, and very recently we introduced auditive signs for trams to let people know where they are going and which tram number it is. So normally you can see it, but you don't know if a tram is coming, where it's going. If you are blind, you cannot see it. So now we have added, and it's going to come more and more, an auditive sign, an auditive signal for people to know which tram is coming. Yeah.
Great example.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Tamara. Don't leave yet, because we have a 4th episode coming up of 16 Minutes of Care, and then we'll talk about empathy and care for the planet. But for now, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and take care.
Want to create lasting impact with your brand while feeding sustainable growth? Check out thecareprinciples.com and see how we can help you. 16 Minutes of Care is an independent production from Isabel Verstraete, brand strategist, founder of The Care Principles, and author of the book, Does Your Brand Care? Help us reach more companies who are looking for caring and sustainable growth by giving this podcast all the stars it deserves and by sharing it in your network. Thank you and take care.